I'm Alex, welcome to Alex Tim's Tabletop. As you can see on my amazing stream desk setup, we're going to be having a look at the new Aeronautica Imperialis companion book today. So I've had a bit of a look through beforehand, so it's not me all over the place rambling. There'll be some rambling. I like it and I don't like it, but we're going to go through it kind of just a skim. This isn't an in-depth review. It's going to give you an idea if you're thinking about buying this book if you play Aeronautica. So first off, straight from Games Workshop, it's £15. That's pretty good for a book. There's enough in there. It's got like, I'll hold it there for you so you can read. So it's got like all the articles from the White Dwarfs. It's got new rules, expansions. It's got rules for the Necrons, and it's got some additional aircraft. And yeah, so from the recent releases like the Eldari versus the Adeptus Astartes, one thing that I will say, which is my main big negative, so it has data sheets in here for like the planes and that, but it doesn't have the data sheets from the first two releases, so you're missing out on like the Imperium side really. There's no tower in there. It's a bit disappointing. There are extra rules for those factions, but you just don't have the data sheets to the planes and loadouts unlike everyone else in this book. Before I get that one out of the way first, because for me, I thought that's quite a big point. I would have happily paid a bit more if they did include that, and that made it around £20, £25. But it's a nice book for £15. Like, I'm happy. Like, yeah. So, yeah, we're going to have a brief look through. You've got your Necrons there, you've got your Astartes there, and it's like introduction. So it's just like blah blah blah. There's your contents if you're curious. I say, if you can see, my bright light will probably not let you. But we're going to go through it, so doesn't really matter, does it? So one thing I'm quite a big fan of, campaigns. I've always wanted to do one. The previous battle report I did was kind of a free-form campaign inspired one. But now actually having like this in a book format to tell me how to do it probably more efficiently is really good, and I'm probably going to look into it. Speaking of Aeronautica content, as we're here, there's a link or whatever. I've done like, I think me and Sarah, we've only done like 2 battle reports, but there's paint guides there. I recently got some of their Eldari flyers, so there'll be a paint guide for that at some point. So campaign's really cool. So it tells you about setting up the campaign, how long you want to run it. They're like, oh, do you want to run it short? Do you want to run it long? You can have it casual. And then it tells you about your squadrons. They're like, oh, we recommend you take 200 to 250 points for a campaign. And then you have attrition. So when you lose fighters, you can slowly replace them now and then, or you don't. So yeah, it's really cool. If you're like me, a narrative type of gamer, so if you like 40k Crusade, I say this as someone who's never played 40k Crusade, but I like the idea of it. It's kind of like this. And then it goes on to Experience Aces. I kind of like the look of this. So forget the fancy ace cards if you know what Aeronautica is. So over the campaigns, they gain new abilities and ranks and stuff. And if they get shot down, they actually have a chance to survive because they're an ace, so it's like legendary, you know. You have to roll a d6 though, so it's pretty hard if they're going to survive. But you can like invest then behind certain planes. You can give them like custom paint jobs, and you'll be like, oh, this is Van Wolfengang Senior, Junior, and he flies for the Imperium. He's killed this many orcs. He has these abilities. So like, let's say we're looking. He's an Adeptus Astarte. So you roll your table and you can give him something like Cool-Headed, Out of the Sun, Large Caliber, Deadly Hunter, Crack Shot, Superhuman, Physiology, and then you have the same for Eldari, you have the same for Necrons. I'm not going to read through all of them. I said this is just a casual review. Like, I'm sure there's somewhere online where there's documents where you can read it for yourselves. And then Squadron Lists are pretty cool. So, it just tells you upgrading your aircraft, making a squadron list, the loadouts, what's like a squadron. So that's cool. I like all that. And then you've got your special rules for your different planes and stuff now. So these were in like the White Dwarf magazines, but now they've been put in here. So that's cool. And now this was the main reason what bought me the book. As you can see with the cover art, And I'm literally looking at my Necrons over there on my desk. The Necrons, unfortunately for me with the Necrons, a big thing, I'm getting it off my chest now. I'm hyped for the Croissants. I will still probably buy them at some point. But the fact that 2 Necrons from Forge World are like 30, I think 32, 35 pounds. And you're looking at your average loadout of like, you need at least 4 to 3 if you're like kind of chill with points as a casual. I'm still looking at nearly like £60 to buy it. I know a lot of people are, oh, £60 isn't a lot. It isn't if you're working constantly, but to me £60 is a lot to my income. So I'm just like, I may have to wait or save up. So, but that's life. But I'm really hyped for the Necrons. They look cool and they're pretty tanky. And you can tell with the point costs, they're 35 points. I'll hold it up. There's the Night Scythe. And then you also have the Doom Scythe. And then you've got some really nice cool artwork to accompany it. It's like the a Night Shroud. That's 39 points. And then the Fighter Night Scythe is 35. It's really cool. I'd say you'd only want 4 free because you'd easily be getting over that 100 to 120, 30 point limit. It's just a shame that it's kind of expensive. Like a box of Eldari flyers, you can get a box of 6 for £25, and that's easily a bunch of points. You got enough to play full games and that. And then for me, I'm gonna have to make like multiple purchases from Forge World and resin, all that jazz. But no, they look really cool, and I would still probably end up getting them at some point just because look how nice they look. Exciting. So I get the point with the Necrons being shoved into this book. And then you've got your Astartes, Interceptors and stuff. So I'm tempted to do these, but I'm tempted to paint them as Night Lords just to chaos it up a bit, because I don't know if we're going to get another Aeronautica release now. This could be it. They're releasing this, or maybe we'll get one more box set down the line, and then this could be like maybe an annual thing. I don't know. But I was very happy paying £15. I keep saying that because we're so used for rule books being like £30, 35, 25. And even though I feel like it's lacking because it doesn't have the data sheets for like the Imperium and the Orcs, I still think it's a good book. Even if you just want to read through it. So I'm tempted to get some Astarte stuff down the line, paint them as Night Lords, because I think that would be cool. I think Chaos Space Marines still hold on to some of their stuff, like the old Imperium planes when they were from the Heresy, not the evil demon things they all fly now. I don't know. I still think it works out. And then you've got like your Storm Eagle, Assault Craft. I love all these illustrations and sketches. Big nerd for all that stuff, And you got your Fire Raptor gunship. They had to sneak Ultramarines in somehow, so there's one painted up in blue. Really easy to paint up, to be honest, if you just wanted to have something quickly painted. And then you got your Thunderhawk gunship, which is 44 points. That'd be so fun to paint. We finally have a small plastic Thunderhawk gunship. I think it's plastic or it's resin, but I know it's sold out. And then you've got your ground defenses. And then you get into legendary aces, which is pretty cool. So you've got for the Salamanders, Darkfire's got the cool custom paint job. And then for the White Scars, I'm assuming with that paint scheme. Yeah, so that's cool. And then it has their little backstory behind it, their special plane loadout. It's nice to see. And then you also have the Eldari datasheet cards in here, which is really cool. So yeah, I only have a bunch of Nightwings. I can't wait to paint them up. I'm going to paint them up in the box art, so it's blue and yellow. That's going to be chill. So you have all that stuff. It tells you their special rules here, and it just tells you a bit about them, like Xenos. Blah, 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 blah. So you got your Nightwing. You have your Phoenix Bomber. I really like the look of the Vampire Raider. I don't know if that's released yet. I will have to look online because I just love the model design. It looks really cool. And then you have, I love that as well. Actually, I think they showed that off on a preview. But the Hermlock Raid Fighter is really cool. And then you have like your special rules, Jink and stuff on some of these data sheets, jump troops and that, which was all mentioned in the beginning of the book, because some of these now have like special abilities and jump, Jink, which gives them extra abilities. I would go through them, but this is a very just quick, chill review. And then you have your ground defense. I say if you want me to tell you, just say in the comments like, hey, can you explain what this is? And then I'll just write it in. Then you've got your special characters for the Eldari as well. You have like your Shadow Reaver, Crimson Warrior, which sounds pretty metal to me. That's pretty cool. And now you actually have for Orc players, it's cool, you got like a bit of information, and it has like thought for the day. He who allows the alien to live shares its crime of existence, which is nice and cheerful. So I guess I shouldn't be around, I don't know. So yeah, so this is actually for looted Imperium fighters, but for Orcs. So you have like a looted Thunderbolt, you have a looted Marauder Bomber, and then you have the Mega Bomber, which is really cool. I don't know if that's looted. I think you can just buy that separately, but 51 points, that's crazy, but it looks so good. So that's cool for Orc players, so there's a reason for you to buy this. And then there is some Tau stuff in here. It's about using Tau human auxiliary fighters, you know, when they capture a planet and let's say they brainwash them, and then they do that whole thing where they stop people breeding because they don't want people to reproduce. So you can have like humans fighting alongside them. That makes you a heretic, so don't do that. Kill the Xenos. No one wants to be a blue fish boy or girl, you know what I mean? But it's cool, like it gives background, and then you do have some Imperium stuff, but it's more for the Forge World, additional stuff. So you buy like your Marauder Bomber. Let's say, oh, I want it to be a Pathfinder. You buy like the plastic parts of Forge World, and it makes it that class. And now they've added that in here, which is cool. But I'm still complaining that they don't have the basic data sheets for the Thunderbolts, Marauder Bombers, everything else, the Tower Devilfish, because it would have made this book so much more, in my opinion, complete and worth it. And you get a nice little illustration there, so if you're kind of trying to decide what to paint, you can be like, ooh. Then you have the Marauder Colossus Bomber with all the different loadouts and the data sheet. And then you have new rules during Dueling Aces, and then you have expanded rules. So if you're like very smart and not like me, you do all the rules. You can be like, let's make it more lore heavy and have more rules. And then there's me and Sarah when we do a battle report, we're like, let's skip that part, can't be bothered with that. But you play games how you want to play, you know, these are just ways to guide you to play it to its best possibility, how it's been designed. But I could literally be like, oh, I can't be bothered with this from the basic rules, but I could be like, oh, I really like limited ammunition. Many weapons in Aeronautica Imperialis have UL ammunition characteristics to reflect the fact that the average aircraft goes into battle fully stocked and would be prepared ensuring conflict. However, this won't always be the case, and often pilots will need to be more discerning of when they take a shot and when they hold back. To represent this, following modifications can be made to the cool rules. So yeah, it's just like advisory rules, you know? Which is cool. And then you have like expanded damage if you want to add more to it instead of just, oh, I got shot down. You have an entire table for aircraft damage. So that's really neat. I'll try and hold it up to the camera for those, but it's going to be covered by a bright light because I don't have an awesome setup. And just a bit more about damage, smoke and flames. Like, it proper goes into it if you want to really make the game more complex for yourself. I do not, but there'll be things I'll be looking at and I'll be like, oh, I like the idea of this and that. I think it's always good to give people the option, basically. And then you have the match play scenarios. So they've added a few new scenarios, how you choose the scenario. So you got Dueling Aces, No Man's Land, Troop Insertion. And then you have your victory conditions. And then has kind of a guidance for match play, which is cool. Match play is always good, so people feel like they're on a level playing field. And then you have Dueling Aces, where there's that, and then you have they're actually giving us kind of deployment zones now, which is cool. Instead of just be like I set up at this end of the table, the fact they're visualizing it for us is really helpful. And then you have No Man's Land, and then you have troop insertion, which is you probably have to go and land and place down some troops. It's in the name, and then that is it. And you have like a cool, awesome bit of artwork. And then you just have the Eldari flyers. So this entire book has 63 pages. £15 is pretty good. What would have made this hotcakes if this was £10? That'd be crazy good. But I'm content with £15. I was actually, it was one of the first things I bought, and I was speaking to Sarah because I have to speak to my other half about financial purchases because that's what you do, you know, bills and stuff. And I was like, oh wow, that's crazy. She's like, what was it, 2025? And I was like, no, it's 15. She's like, that's really good for Games Workshop. And I was like, yeah. So congrats to GW there for making it really reasonable. My main critique, like I've mentioned twice through this video, I wish it had the data sheets to the previous two launches where you had the Tau, the Astra Militarum, and you had the Imperial Navy and the Orc Air War. That would have made this book so much more complete in my eyes. And then if they were like, this is £20, £25, but it had all that, I would have been like, great. But that's my only kind of complaint. It's a nice book. I do apologise now to people before you comment if you've got this far in the video. This was a light review, so sorry I didn't stop and read everything. It's just not me. I don't like doing that. I don't like fully just reading in front of the camera. Then this video becomes like an hour long because it's a bit boring. And you could probably source it online, or if you want to support these type of games made by Games Workshop, and the best way to show that there are people like you watching this who are interested is to go buy these products, because it sounds bad, the more support these products get, the more likely GW will continue to support it and it doesn't just get abandoned. But this is a really good staple point for Aeronautica. It's got a kind of end of life DLC where if they don't support it for a while now and maybe they revamp it in like 2-3 years, this book has enough in it to make the games that bit more complex, to make them last longer. We have quite a lot of factions now. I'd still like to see maybe, even if it's just through Forge World now, like they've done with the Necrons, a Chaos release. I really think Chaos and Tyranids need to get a release now, and then that will make the game really complete. But hopefully you've enjoyed this kind of brief, laid-back book kind of look through. Apologies again, it was very brief and not in depth. If you like this, then I would appreciate likes, comments, a subscription. As I said in the description, I've done a bunch of Aeronautica stuff before. We're going to be doing some battle reports this year with more Aeronautica because it's a bit easier for the channel and it's fun. So yeah, as well, if you want to, thank you to the people on the screen. I do Patreon. It is what it is. You hear it off everyone else by now. I do some behind the scenes stuff, videos, blogs, blah blah blah. But I really enjoyed going through this with you lot. So thank you for hanging out with me today. You stay awesome, and hopefully you roll well and you fly through the skies and aces high. Cheers. Take care. Bye.